So Halo Infinite's multiplayer came out for free, which is awesome because that means it's a lot more accessible to a lot of people to start playing Halo, which is incredible because now we get to see a lot more new faces playing, and a lot of old heads like myself are getting to enjoy the multiplayer experience with no extra barriers. So I want to start with the good stuff. So the good stuff is that it feels like a traditional Halo experience. It's not crazy like after Halo Reach, Halo 4 and 5. They just had way too many weird gadgets, loadouts, just weird movement mechanics that's just not really traditionally in Halo, as opposed to, like, you know, Halo 3, 2, and 1. More movement options isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just felt really out of place in Halo, not to mention that loadouts in general is just super weird in Halo when the core gameplay was always starting with the bare bones and then you would fight for control of these actual good weapons on the map. I think that's something that's really important to keep Halo feeling like Halo. And actually the pacing of the game is back to a point where it's not like crazy fast. It's never been a twitch shooter. It's kind of been a high time to kill, very calculatory shooter game. It's not something that you just run around and you spam shotguns and you get, like, you know, tactical nukes from running around and doing just absolute BS. The actual pacing, the time to kill, the actual gunplay, the strategy behind everything, it feels more akin to how I remember playing Halo 3 and Halo Reach, even when things started to change a little bit. And again, with Halo 4, things changed a little too much, and I think that's a problem that we see with a lot of big games too, and I could totally make a whole separate video about that, but I'm just going to briefly touch up on what I'm talking about here, and that's the fact that these really established game franchises just decide to make these changes that aren't really necessary. I mean, it's always important to keep games feeling fresh. You got to make sure that it feels new every time they make a new title. And it's funny because, like, you see Call of Duty, and while it's still the same core gameplay, they don't really change much. They change like a theme or something, but like the core gameplays of it hasn't really changed much. Although when they had the whole jetpack era and the futuristic fighting, that was definitely a huge change, and it wasn't super well received. And then when they went back to boots on the ground, people received it a little better. Now for me, I played Halo since Combat Evolved. I played at my cousin's house. I learned what Halo was on the original Xbox, and I thought it was one of the coolest games. Halo 2, you know, doing BXBs and all these fun little exploits just to like murder everybody a little faster. That was fun. I also like the calculatory gunplay that comes with Halo 3 and the map design, and including vehicles and all these different fun weapons and ways to kind of take out your opponents, like with the grav hammer, how to use the sword. It changes depending on what you end up picking up. I also love the fact that you would actually go around the map, you'd learn the spawn points of these weapons, and you would actually control these specific points on the map so that your team could control these game-changing weapons, such as, like, what was it, the pits or something, where you would actually hold two different towers. They both spawned a sniper rifle, and that would be a very important point to hold. And then I believe there was a grav hammer or a sword somewhere in the middle down a tunnel, and people would fight for that as well as these power-ups like active camo and overshield, which have seen some changes as the game's progressed. So let's talk about some of these changes that we see with Halo Infinite. It's kind of taking some of the things from 5 and 4, and they kind of just put them on the side burner, sort of. They're not like an up front and center sort of mechanic here. And if I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't even play 5 because I just despise 4 so much. I checked in on Halo 5's gameplay, and what I saw was just nothing less than disappointing. So the loadouts and stuff that we saw from 4 no longer exists. You don't have that type of weapon customization. You just start with an assault rifle just like you used to, and then you would fight for different points on the map. Although you see some changes depending on what game mode you are. Like in ranked, you're pretty much just stuck with a battle rifle, and then you'll fight for other different weapons around the map as well. We also see changes to overshield and all the different movement mechanics. They're just like little utilities that you'll pick up, and they'll spawn periodically throughout the match, and I think that's actually a really good way to sort of implement those things, and it feels very Halo-esque as opposed to just, you know, having a loadout saying like, oh, I have a jetpack, that's just, I just have that, or like I have this dash or something. Like, instead of just having that outright all the time as an ability, I think it really fits Halo specifically if it's something on the map that you can control, you can go and pick up. Like, that's just kind of how the gameplay works traditionally in Halo, and I think this is a really, really good step in the right direction. I think gameplay wise that fits the game a lot better than the last couple titles. They made some weapon changes. I'm definitely a fan of some of these weapon changes. I don't know the names of the guns right off the bat, like from the top of my head, but you know, like the shock rifle, there's the new shotgun, there's some sort of pistol, there's a few energy beam weapons, there's a harpoon gun that's actually really fun to use. Now these are things that are, you know, good changes. They're not changing the core gameplay, and it doesn't feel super disruptive to what maybe a traditional Halo player might remember or experience, or it wouldn't be like super crazy once you just learn how to pick it up. It is a little disorienting and confusing when you first see these weapons for the first time. Like, I know I was confused seeing like half the new weapons in there, but once I picked them up, it just felt like I was playing Halo. And again, that's a really, really important thing that these game devs gotta sort of nail down and, you know, keep in mind when they're trying to keep an established franchise going with the same momentum it had, and making it so it doesn't feel exactly like a completely new game, because again, this is a sequel to an already established game. You want it to at least feel like you're still playing the same game while also keeping it new. Now, the only feature that's really come in that stayed from like Halo 4 and 5 and that used to be a tactical is the sprint, but the sprint, the movement doesn't feel super cluunky. You have a slide now and it's not like super crazy. Nothing's like really fast paced, and that's kind of like what Halo is. It's not a super fast paced shooter, and I can see if you like Call of Duty, you're not really gonna like Halo Infinite. I've seen a lot of complaints about how the time to kill feels so long and all these other complaints, which, to be fair, like, okay, maybe you're just not into that. That's fine, because I totally appreciate a really low TTK in a shooter game, and that's always fun. It's just like a slog fest, and it can be hectic, chaotic, and you can feel really cracked when you pull off a crazy kill streak, because in all reality, you could easily be taken out in just as little amount of effort that you just took out a whole bunch of people. And a lot of people are just like kind of hating on the game because of that thing, but I think that it's just not their type of game. So yeah, it's just not really necessary to like hate on it just because it's different or maybe not like fitting your play style specifically. But just keep in mind that Halo is and always has been a slower shooter compared to things like Call of Duty. People complain about the graphics. I think that the graphics look awesome. It looks and feels like Halo. The consistency with the sequel is always going to be a key factor for me. I mean, it looks like it's Halo 3, but they just put like, you know, Unreal Engine on it or something where there's like God rays. All the textures are a little more intricate, a little more detailed. I like that. And these are all the good things that I like about Halo. Like, it's Halo. It feels like Halo. Plays like Halo. It has some new things that are staying true to the traditional Halo experience. And, you know, if you like Halo, you're getting Halo. And that's all I could ask for with Halo, especially when it's coming to PC, aside from Master Chief Collection, because that was kind of a shit show. Now, I want to talk about the ugly parts, and it's not as ugly as it could be, and I honestly am really enjoying my time playing Halo Infinite right now. I've been playing ranked. The quick play is phenomenal. I like the game modes. Everything plays fine. The gameplay itself is fantastic. That being said, there is one huge fundamental part of Halo Infinite that just doesn't sit right with me, that we're kind of missing from older titles, and that would be the customization. Now, I feel like I wouldn't be super alone in this when I say that the customization of Halo Infinite feels incredibly weak, as opposed to, like, you know, if we look at Halo 3, that's kind of like the gold standard to Halo. Halo 3 customization, phenomenal. You would have to do challenges. You would have to do campaign challenges. Certain difficulties of the campaign would unlock you different armor sets and pieces. Different multiplayer challenges would unlock you certain sets and pieces. Getting all the achievements would set you up with a security helmet, katana, etc. All really good things that are implemented into the actual game that allow the player to continuously play the game. It gives it a lot of replayability. It gives the player something to strive towards, and it lets you unlock something that shows that you accomplished something great. And I've talked about this before in a previous video where, you know, cosmetics in games used to mean something, and Halo 3 was a good example of when cosmetics actually did mean something, because like I said, you would have to do something crazy, like get all the achievements in the game, and you would be rewarded with a really cool cosmetic. And I think that's something we're just kind of missing from a lot of modern games, and it's a little disappointing. And a lot of younger gamers, like, they just don't seem to get it when I talk about it, and I hope that at some point they do get to experience something like this. But when you just have a battle pass and you're just expected to grind out these levels, or if you can't grind out the levels in a specific time period, which is usually how battle passes work, then you just end up spending money if you want to have a cool skin. And then people are always going to say like, oh, well, the cosmetics are just cosmetic, it doesn't affect the gameplay. But you don't understand that these cosmetics inadvertently do affect gameplay in the end, because what the cosmetics were in the previous titles is they were something for the player to strive to. And if you give a player a goal, they're going to try and achieve it, or a lot of people will anyway. And if it's something in a system where you are expected to accomplish something crazy and you have a lot of replayability with that, now is that actually not affecting the gameplay? I'd say that it is. I think that that is actually a huge core component of game replayability, and maybe even like gamer satisfaction with the game. There needs to be an insertion of cosmetics and customization that the player can play around with and strive to achieve, like, whatever goals there are. That's not just a battle pass system. And I could talk about the battle pass specifically, but just very briefly, like a TLDR, battle pass at first, when Fortnite kind of implemented that into their like business model, I thought it was kind of a good thing. But now, as the years have gone by and I see how battle passes have been just used in everything, I don't really see it as a good thing unless it's implemented in a way that Fortnite does it. Now, we can bash Fortnite and whatever. I played a little bit of Fortnite. I actually enjoyed it in my time playing a little bit. I never got super into it, but I did appreciate the fact that they took just sort of, to me, a boring game mode, a battle royale. And it's no hate to anyone who likes battle royales. It's a fine game mode. I just don't like the pacing of them personally. But Fortnite would take the battle royale, and that's the core game, right? Like, you just go in, you kill people. But then it offered players a way to do something else in the game, to collect said cosmetics. You would have all these challenges. It would change the gameplay just for like maybe a match or two. It would change how you played that game. It would change where maybe you dropped. It offered different scenarios for you to accomplish different things. And you could unlock skins by doing these things because it's giving you a bunch of XP for these challenges. And I think Fortnite's Battle Pass is actually one of the best Battle Passes that we see in the gaming industry. Granted, I haven't seen the last like 2 Battle Passes. I don't know if it's changed at all, but in the time that I played, like maybe a year ago, I thought it was fantastic. I loved the Battle Pass. I love doing the challenges and everything. And on top of that, if you just didn't like challenges, you would just get rewarded for playing a lot, which is fine. I think that's maybe not the stronger point of the Battle Pass, but I mean, if you're playing a lot already, you should be rewarded with something. At least. Now, the problem with the Battle Pass with Halo is it is slow. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen like a TikTok or a short video or something on YouTube talking about the very bad progression of Halo Infinite. The Halo Infinite progression is abysmal. Right now, it's just you're playing lobbies and you get 50 XP for playing any game mode. There's like a small amount of challenges. I think they're dailies or something. And if you buy the premium Battle Pass, you get 1 extra challenge. You can re-roll challenges with some things from the Battle Pass. But besides that, it's pretty bad. And I honestly cannot say that it is a good way to have progression in the game. I think it took me about 20 games, even with getting challenges and that 50 XP per game. It took about 20 games to go from level 0 of the Battle Pass to level 1, and you don't even really unlock anything. Not to mention, when you open the Battle Pass and you look at what you can unlock, it's pretty sad. And you see things like color schemes. You see things like armor pieces that barely change or anything. Like, it's nothing amazing. And I feel like that's going to put a bad taste in people's mouth, and they're not going to want to play in the long term. And that's going to be a very important factor in like how successful Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be. And with the color schemes and stuff, that was a feature that was just a part of the game before. You would have a primary color, secondary, and tertiary color scheme that you could change on the fly. You didn't have to have like these set color schemes. The emblems were fully customizable. You used to be able to make whatever emblem you wanted, and now you're stuck with specific preset emblems that are not really all that unique. They're just the default emblems from the previous games, and you can change the color scheme on those. You can change the background of your player ID. It just doesn't sit right, and the customization is like such a huge part to me for Halo, and I really hope that they implement more challenges that let you unlock things for accomplishing things like they used to, like Mongoose Mowdown, or like, I don't know, if you get a certain achievement, you get a certain armor piece at the very least. That being said, I think the gameplay itself is good. It feels like a good Halo multiplayer experience, but there's nothing that's going to keep players coming back and giving it a lot of replayability, such as these challenges and stuff, aside from like a battle pass, which is just such a grind to get through. I don't see it really surviving long term, which sucks to say because I want it to. I'm really excited to be playing Halo on PC again, but there has to be some sort of point for people to come back and keep doing these things. So that's just the current state. That's been my feelings. I'm actually kind of curious to see how other people have felt, how you feel about the battle pass, if you think it's fine. Maybe you don't like challenges anymore. Maybe you like the battle pass. I'm genuinely curious to see what the like consensus is. And you know, this is just my opinion. It's not the be all end all opinion of you know, gaming in general. That's just how I see things. But who knows, maybe this is just a boomer take, and maybe I just like really want to feel that nostalgia rush of an old style of gameplay where, you know, you pay $60, you get a full-fledged game, and you can unlock everything that way. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you want more gaming rant videos, and I also post some short videos here and there of the funny moments from stream. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you with the next one with whatever the hell it is I'm doing. Peace out.